this. What's your immediate reaction to what's happened today?
Well, I'm shocked. I'm afraid that it was a very bad judgment on Keir's part. I think he's made a big mistake here. He set out as leader to end factionalism. The party has been riven with factionalism since 2015 when Jeremy Corbyn was elected, and many members of the Parliamentary Labour Party on the right of the party started fighting back against that. Keir needs to end that factionalism and reunite the party, and I want to support him in doing that. It's what he was elected to do. It's why he won the votes of so many who backed Jeremy Corbyn in previous leadership elections in 2015 and 2016. So I'm really disappointed with that. But I think it's terribly unfair to Rebecca, and I think it's made it harder for himself to unite the party and overturn and defeat anti-Semitism, which Rebecca is just as committed to as both he and I are.
He did say that he did not consider her to be anti-Semitic, which slightly makes you wonder, well, okay, well, why do that? Why not just sort of issue a statement clarifying what she meant, which is, I guess, what she tried to do. But is there not something...
I agree that what he did do, Ian, what he did do effectively was he condemned Maxine Peake, national treasure, for anti-Semitism. And he did that without telling her the charges, without any application of the principles of natural justice, without allowing her to respond, which is how a Labour disciplinary panel would expect this to have been dealt with. And I find it very surprising that a lawyer and a former DPP should act with such disregard for the principles of natural justice.
She is or was a keen supporter of Jeremy Corbyn. Do you think that, and part of the article was all about that, and that also was, I guess, what Rebecca Long-Bailey retweeted. Do you think that was part of it as well? Just effectively sending out the signal to everyone else, you do this and you're out.
But she was also very supportive of Keir in the article. And she made that very clear and said how important she thought it was for Labour to win. And she would back Keir in doing that. So, that also makes it worse. I think it's tragic that someone, as talented as Maxine, who's as, held in such high regard for the public, her reputation is trashed in this way. And of course, I think it's terrible that Rebecca, who got the votes of many tens of thousands of Labour Party members, she lost, is also treated in this way when Keir, set out saying he wanted her in his shadow cabinet. So I think he's acted very wrongly.
Now, you will remember back in the 1980s and 1990s, it suited Neil Kinnock as Labour leader, and indeed Tony Blair, to have a bit of a ruck with the left. Some people are suggesting that he's used this as an excuse to have a fight with the left because it will do him a lot of good in the country. The very kind of voters that he needs to win back will actually be rather impressed by this.
Well, it didn't work too well for Neil Kinnock. And I wouldn't repeat the mistakes that Neil Kinnock made. I think what he needs to do is unite the party. That's what I support him in doing. I've supported Keir since he was elected, though I ran Rebecca's campaign for her. I want him to succeed. I want him to defeat the Conservative government after their disastrous handling of this crisis and get elected as Prime Minister. That's what I want to work for. But you need a united party to do that. I think right across the spectrum up to now, people have agreed that. And I'm afraid that, he's made that task, which he set himself, much harder.
And I suppose it's diverted all of the Westminster journalists' attention away from Robert Jenrick. I mean, he's probably the one that's most pleased by this, because all of the headlines today are now about Rebecca Long-Bailey.
Correct. And by the way, Keir hasn't had time to call for Robert Jenrick to be sacked. And yet he sacks someone in his own shadow cabinet rather than unite the party. Someone who was just as committed as him to defeating anti-Semitism. the Labour Party.
Does he need to replace her with someone of similar politics from the left of the party?
Well, I'm sorry that he wants to replace her at all, but he has to win back the trust of the left of the party, including that bit of the left that voted for him in the leadership election, because they won't be happy with this.
But the papers will write this up tomorrow, I suspect, generally in a fairly positive way. It'll be the smack of firm leadership. Keir slaps down the left. That will be the result, won't it? And a lot of people will give him a lot of praise for that.
Yes, he'll get, a day's worth of praise in Conservative supporting newspapers. That's true. I don't know that will be worth that will not be worth anything when we come to the general election. What he's failed to do is take steps to unite the party today, and unfortunately, he may be paying for that for some time.